Okay, everyone, buckle up because I think Xbox is intentionally killing itself. Yes, I'm going to make that argument in today's video. Or better yet, Microsoft is putting Xbox in an old folks' home, hoping that it's going to die off. Like, Grandma, put her there. We'll eventually not have to deal with her anymore. I frankly don't know what Xbox is doing anymore. And it's frustrating for people who were there from day one. I mean, I got an Xbox on the very first day it was available. In fact, I think I got it a few weeks early because I was a tech journalist at the time and Microsoft sent me one. It's like, what is this? Holy smokes, this is crazy. And it's kind of sad to see being killed off in this kind of way, you know? So I have a lot I want to talk about today. I've been thinking about this a lot over the past week and a half. And I have a little story that I want to tell you a little bit later. But first, last week, we all know what happened. Xbox raised prices on Game Pass Ultimate $30 a month, doubling the cost. The internet absolutely melted down. I did a whole video about it. No way. People were saying absolutely no way. People canceled in droves. That was the first step. But then Microsoft just pulled one of the sneakiest moves in modern gaming, sort of simultaneously hoping that no one would notice. They quietly killed the Xbox Game Pass discount, and they didn't tell us. It was one of the little benefits that actually made subscribing maybe feel a little bit worth it, right? I could get some discounts on DLC and some other things. And now they're replacing it with reward points. Points. Oh, lucky day. I love points. Nothing says we care about gamers like swapping real savings for digital coupons that expire before you can even use them. But this isn't, just about discounts here. This is really about ownership, about how Xbox is turning into a platform where you own nothing, not your games, not your DLC, not even your identity as a customer. Yet you somehow, they still expect you to stay loyal and just keep paying this monthly subscription. I mean, welcome to the era of rental gaming, where Microsoft holds the keys to your digital life and wants you to be happy. So here's what happened. Microsoft confirmed that they are scrapping Game Pass discounts on all game and DLC purchases. Those 10 or 20% savings that used to make sense for loyal subscribers, really driving us away from any kind of ownership of games whatsoever. Gone. But they only admitted it after they were asked by IGN. I'm going to quote them now directly. This is not specific to any one game and reflects all the games and DLC purchases. Instead of a discount on the purchases, Ultimate and Premium subscribers will earn 10% and 5% respectively in points when purchasing select games and add-ons from the Game Pass library. Ultimate members continue to have 20% discount on select games from the Game Pass library. On top of that, all rewards members will earn points when shopping games and add-ons in the store, while Premium and Ultimate subscribers will earn even more at 2 times and 4 times respectively. See more details on the Game Pass Rewards program page. Okay. Yeah, so in their place, you get Microsoft reward points. Premium members get 5% back in points. Ultimate members get 10. Great. Sounds fine on paper, but points are not money. They're deferred hope, basically. You don't see the discount at checkout anymore. And now you're paying double for Game Pass. You don't pay less today. You just collect imaginary currency that you might use later if you stay in their ecosystem long enough. So it's kind of like your boss saying, hey, we can't pay you your cash check this week, but here's a gift card to the company store. Go downstairs and buy a sweatshirt from our company store with our company logo on it. You'll feel better. Trust me. So a discount is straightforward. You buy a $60 game, but you pay $54. Done. Reward points? That's a psychological trick. They basically turn your purchase into a behavioral loop. You spend to earn, you earn to spend. And the only place to spend is inside of Microsoft's walled garden. But they really don't want me buying any games anymore, do they? So what do they actually want me to buy? I don't know. It's not generosity, it's the gamification of your spending. And Microsoft knows that this isn't about saving you money, it's about control. You're no longer a customer, you're just a statistic. They've replaced ownership with participation. But something bigger is going on here that I've been thinking about lately. And honestly, I can't for the life of me figure out what Xbox even is anymore. Are they a hardware company? Because the Series X is collecting dust on store shelves while the PS5 and the Switch are dominating. Have you seen the new Switch numbers that just came out? Fastest selling console in history. The new Switch 2 numbers this week were insane. Costco said they're done selling Xboxes. No one is buying an Xbox at a Costco. So Costco's like, why are we wasting our store shelves with these things? So is Xbox A hardware manufacturer? I don't know. Are they a publisher now? Sure, they bought Bethesda, Activision Blizzard, nearly $70 billion worth of studios. But what have we actually gotten that like defines the brand? I must get an Xbox. Once Halo comes to PlayStation, that ship is completely sailed. What are they publishing? Forza? Is that it? Got Microsoft Flight Simulators now on the PS5 with VR, Sony VR2 headset support, by the way. So are they a cloud gaming service like GeForce Now? They keep pushing xCloud, Play Anywhere. But that tech still feels like a side project. It kind of sucks. Maybe 10 years from now. But right now it's not there at all. So are they trying to be Steam? A storefront where you buy and access your library of games anywhere? Because their digital store is still clunky, regional, tied to Game Pass. No one wants to buy games through Windows, or at least no one I know wants to do that. Valve and Steam are crushing it. So what exactly are they? It feels like Microsoft doesn't even know at this point. They took a massive gamble, thinking millions would sign up for Game Pass because of day one titles like Call of Duty, Starfield, Diablo 4. But that subscriber explosion they were hoping for, it never happened. I mean, if Call of Duty can really move the numbers, and they didn't move the numbers here, then nothing can. But here's the real tell. They stopped talking about their numbers. So when a company's winning, they brag about it, right? They're happy to push a tweet out there and tell you all about the numbers. But when they're losing, they go silent. And often they'll even lump in those numbers with other sales factors inside of the company. Like when Apple launched the Apple Watch, Apple launched different items inside of the Apple ecosystem that weren't doing so well. They kind of lumped it in with other things, like our devices section, right? Well, how's the Apple Watch doing? We didn't know in the early days. Now it's exploded in how popular the Apple Watch is. But at the time, Apple really wasn't telling us on purpose. Xbox used to shout out big milestones, 10 million subscribers to Game Pass, 20 million subscribers. Now it's just player engagement, hours played, points earned. That's PR code for the numbers aren't good, so we're not going to tell you. So at the end of the day, this is all about ownership. Microsoft bet that subscription addiction would replace the urge to own games. Like, hey, I don't need to have my shelves in my games room anymore. It's like Netflix, right? I'm just going to subscribe to a game pass, and I'll just play all the games I want. I won't own anything. And I honestly think that Microsoft lost that bet. Gamers still value buying what they love, keeping it forever, even if it's digital. And this isn't new for Microsoft. This company has a long history of missing major waves, by the way. They missed the internet boom. Bill Gates openly admitted it. How do you miss the internet? They missed the smartphone revolution. The Windows Phone was a total flop, and yet those Windows phones preceded the iPhone, and they still totally flopped. How? How did they do that? They missed the MP3 era with the Zune, which no one asked for. Remember the brown Zune? It's actually kind of cool, but they totally missed that. No one wanted to buy a Zune. Everyone wanted to buy an iPod.
I stood in front of a case of iPods and I bought a Zune.
What's a Zune?
Yep, exactly.
And then they tried to play catch up by buying Nokia. Let me tell you a quick story. So back in 2008 or 2009, I don't remember exactly where. Again, I was a tech journalist, and I was at a Nokia event as a journalist. It was going to be a big launch. They were launching what they were going to call like an iPhone killer, right? This was going to be a great new smartphone from Nokia. So we were all there in this event center, this like room in New York City. And I'll never forget, like we're waiting and waiting and waiting for the CEO to show up. And the CEO didn't even show up to the event. He was supposed to be there to give a speech. Instead, the PR team was like scrambling. They handed out press releases and phones that already felt like obsolete. Like here, tech reporter, here's your bag. Here's a phone in it. Go review it if you want to. The CEO didn't show up because they knew they'd already lost. You could feel the defeat in the room. They'd already lost to Apple, 2008, 2009. And they knew it. Then get this, right? Fast forward a few years later. Microsoft then goes and buys Nokia. In 2014, we're talking like 5 years later after that event. Years after that brand was dead and buried. They spent billions trying to catch a train that had already left the station. The result? Microsoft's stock tanked. The mobile division imploded. You had all sorts of investors saying, what in the world did you do here? Why did you just buy a company that's dying? It was literally bleeding billions of dollars. Why did Microsoft buy Nokia? It's the same pattern now with Xbox. A company trying to reinvent itself after the fact, doubling down on a losing idea instead of admitting that they misread the room. I mean, let's be honest here. When you buy a physical game, you own it. You can play it 20 years from now if you take care of it. No servers, no logins. But digital, buy digital games, and you own a license that can be revoked at any time. Subscribe through Game Pass, and you don't even own that. You're renting access to a rotating catalog. Games come and go, but with no ownership at all. A game leaves Game Pass, it's gone. You know, Microsoft has a server hiccup, you're locked out. Remember when PlayStation Plus had that like 3-day outage last year? If you didn't already own the game on a physical disc and had already installed it on the hard drive, you weren't playing anything. You're not collecting games anymore. You're collecting monthly bills. And that's exactly what they want by removing discounts, Microsoft removing incentives to buy anything outright at all. They want you trapped in this subscription mode forever. One of our viewers here on the channel left me a comment the other day. If you're watching, thank you for your comment. And you said you bought like the complete seasons of The Office, I think the British version of The Office. And then you went in to like watch 2 or 3 of the episodes, but they had been removed from your library because of like some licensing issue. But wait a minute, you bought the whole complete digital box set of The Office and they just removed it. Just like Kindle books, they do that. They just remove content. So you don't own it. So those reward points, they're not rewards. They're like handcuffs. They only work in the Microsoft ecosystem. You can't take them to Steam or PlayStation or Nintendo. Of course not, right? You've got to use them there. They can devalue the points anytime they want, limit redemptions, reset balances for inactivity. Hey, you weren't playing recently, so we just took away your balances. You're in a casino that you can't leave. It's the perfect trap for Microsoft. You keep spending, they keep harvesting your cash and your data, by the way. Every download, every session, every click feeds Microsoft's machine. They know what you play, how long you play, what makes you spend money. They don't need to guess about your preferences anymore. They predict them. And then they feed that data back into Game Pass to optimize the next wave of spending. It's brilliant for shareholders, but it's terrible for gamers who just want to own something without being tracked like lab rats. This is why, systems like Evercade are so exciting to me. I don't know how many of you have an Evercade system, but you get like 5, 6, 7 games on a cartridge and you own that cartridge in perpetuity and you play all of these incredible retro games on this system and they keep releasing new games fully physically on the cartridge. It's exciting. But there's an illusion of choice here that Microsoft doesn't want to be a console maker anymore. They want to be the toll booth for digital gaming, just like Netflix and Spotify. They control the content, they charge rent forever, they pretend you're offering value. We've seen how that ends, like shrinking libraries, vanishing titles, content that can be edited or censored overnight. Gaming is next. When you don't own your games, you don't own your memories anymore. You're just borrowing them until the corporation decides to take them back. We all see what's happening here. Like gamers see what's happening. Forums, YouTube comments are filled with anger. People you got rid of their Microsoft Game Pass in droves by the tens of thousands. But the danger is fatigue. We rage for a week. We're upset about it. Then we move on to the next controversy. And that's how they win because, they forgot. That's how we lost manuals. That's how we lost discs. That's how we lost cartridges. That's how we'll lose ownership if we don't push back on this. So what can we do as consumers? Well, number one, you got to vote with your wallet. So many of you have. I see the comment threads. You're like, I canceled Game Pass. I didn't even know about this. I'm canceling it. If you hate these moves, pause your subscription, cancel your subscription. Revenue drops get attention, just like Bud Light. Bud Light wants to hire some dude dressing up as a woman, pretending he's a woman, Dylan Mulvaney. Bud Light's stock tanked, and they had to change course. And now you see Bud Light changing course totally with their marketing campaigns. Like, gone are the trans weirdos with blue hair dressing up as women. Now they got real men back who want to drink Bud Light. See if that revives their stock, but it hasn't. It's really, really been detrimental to them. Same thing with Netflix. Pushing this whole, I don't know if you saw these cartoons and the controversy over the Netflix over the past few weeks. These cartoons pushing an ideology to children. Like, keep your politics away from my children, please. In these cartoons, you're going to push this? So people cancel on Netflix like left and right. Same with Disney Plus. So these studios are hopefully going to learn their lesson. Maybe Microsoft will learn their lesson. The second thing you can do is buy physical. Buy physical games. I think Microsoft took a huge bet here on digital and it failed for them. If you buy physical, it's the last true form of ownership. I've really moved away from buying digital books. I've moved back to getting my big ass history books that I love to read. And you'll notice there's quite a few books that are almost impossible to find because it goes against like the political narrative of the day, and they don't want you to own these books. So that's why owning physical books, they can't ever take them away from you. And then, preserve your games, back them up, keep your licenses safe, and buy games with DRM free, like GOG games. That way, yes, you've got a digital library, but it's at least DRM free, and you can take those games and own them in perpetuity. It's a digital item that you own in perpetuity. No one can take it away from you. And then, finally, speak up. Share this video with people. Let others know what's happening right now with Xbox. Maybe they're being charged on their monthly bill. They don't even know they're paying for it. So share this with other people. Because if we don't act now, we're going to wake up in a world where you just pay monthly fees just to access your own save files. Like, we're going to hold your save files. You don't have any games at all. You're going to have to pay us a monthly fee just to access those. At least right now, those are on the device, for crying out loud. So let's call it what it is. Microsoft took a huge gamble on Game Pass, betting that subscriptions would replace ownership. It didn't work. And now they're doubling down on this, removing discounts, adding points, doubling the cost of their overall Game Pass fee, hiding subscriber numbers because they can't admit it publicly that it failed. It's like Microsoft's like Hillary Clinton, still can't admit she lost and still blames the Russians. She has to wake up to reality. No, it was you that lost. They don't want you to own anything. They want you dependent forever. So the next time you boot up your Xbox and see that Game Pass banner there, remember, you're not the customer, you're the product. Heck, the founder of Xbox this week just came out and said these price hikes are about greed over gaming. And when you stop paying rent on your digital life, they'll take it all back. And then you'll own nothing. So guys, if you care about ownership, hey, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. We talk all about owning physical games here, retro games, and we try to cover the news of the day, stuff that I want to talk about and bothers me. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. Let me know down below, have you already canceled your Xbox Game Pass? Did you do it a long time ago? Where do you come down on this idea of not owning anything, digital versus physical ownership? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And we'll see you next time, everyone.